Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I wanted to remind you of our Road to 1,000 subscribers giveaway that we have going on our YouTube channel. If you subscribe and have a public profile, you'll be entered to win a free RX Smart Gear original jump rope. You'll get to pick the pattern of the handles, the color and weight of the cable, and you'll be getting one of the best selling, best performing jump ropes out there. Every time we hit a new century mark with the number of subscribers to our channel, we'll randomly select a new winner. And our friend Dave Newman is going to throw in a little something extra for each winner. So a special thanks to our sponsor, RX Smart Gear, to Dave Newman for being such a great partner, and to you for being a loyal listener. Good luck, and I hope you are our next winner.
We are so excited to now have Mobility Movement as a partner. Their holistic approach to recovery is second to none. This is not just a program that helps with your flexibility and mobility, it also assists with stress release and sleep, two key factors in overall recovery. The website gives you a plan for each week, saves your favorites, gives you sleep protocols, has a specific protocol for your first week joining, and then there are these new things called open snacks, which are super cool. Here you are given quick warm-ups and cool-down protocols for the open WODs, featuring elite athletes Allison Scudds and Saxon Panchik. And who doesn't need recovery after those open workouts? The extensive library available to you is both vast and diverse. If you want to try Mobility Movement, go to mobilitymovement.com. That is mobilitymvmnt.com. And make sure you use our code Clydesdale20, all caps, to get 20% off your first 6 months. That's mobilitymovement.com, mobilitymvmnt.com. Use code Clydesdale20 to get 20% off your first 6 months. I've been using this since the first of the year, and I am sleeping better than I have in so many years. And with all the back issues I've had over the last 5 years, this has given me so much relief, and I'm able to work out 4 to 5 times a week without any pain at all. So go to mobilitymovement.com. That's mobilitymvmnt.com and use Clydesdale20 to get 20% off your first 6-month subscription. Well, everybody, we are here with James Townsend, coach, athlete, former NFLer, former All-American in 2 sports, and we are here to get to know him today. And I'm just going to start by saying I have my band here, so I'm going to do curls while we're talking to try to get my arms as big as yours by the end of the show.
Yeah.
So that I can be in your league. But I'm just so glad to have you on here, James.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
I want to start with kind of growing up, right? You grew up in Jersey,
Right.
and you were a really good football player. You started at the age of 4, I believe.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So
Yeah.
what is it like growing up where you did and being a football star, breaking records and all that?
Well, I'm originally from the South Bronx, Webster Avenue, 168th Street. Then moved to Jersey until I was about around the age of 10. And then from there, being in the South Bronx, in the projects, there's really no exposure to football and everything. We might have, street football, which I'm pretty sure everybody played when they were growing up. But when I moved out of the projects into the suburbs of South Jersey, then more options were available, right? You had your little league clubs and everything, and me being exposed to football was through my older brothers at a young age, and my mom, she didn't really want me to get into organized football, so me being at 4 years old, living in the Bronx and playing street football, I was playing with 9, 10-year-olds, right? And I was, believe it or not, I was 4 years old and the fastest of 9, 10-year-olds, right? My brothers, I got 2 older brothers, they would bet money on me to race their friends, and they would win money. And that's how the evolution of my football career just started. I was always fashioning everybody and very much, naturally gifted. And then one day, I got into organized football, and it's funny when you're fast. All you have to do is just pitch the guy the ball and let him run to the outside, and then that's it.
Yeah.
That was just kind of my thing. It was like pitch me the ball and I'll do the rest.
So you learned about the business side of football at 4 with your brothers being agents. Did they give you a cut of any of that money?
Oh no, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Typical agent, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
So you get to high school, and in your junior year, you're All-American in football, and I think you were a 3-time All-American in track.
Yes. Yep.
So now, because you're an All-American, you're kind of getting some eyes on you. What's happening then? The colleges are coming. What is that experience like?
So I went to a Catholic high school in South Jersey, Holy Cross High School. We were ranked in the nation. We were, I tell everybody my high school was far from being a Catholic high school, private. We were like I tell everybody my high school was like Varsity Blues. We were just like that. It was Friday night lights, when the lights come on, everybody is there, and it's just revolved around football. And if anybody know about, private high school football, you know that is real football, right?
Yeah.
So, the realness of what college would be like happened for me earlier, because my high school coach came from a college football background. So he ran everything like it was college football. And so by me being a star wide receiver, perks came along with that. Didn't have to go to school, didn't really have to do my work. I was allowed to skip out of school. I was allowed these things because of who I was as a football player. And that limelight came to me at an early age, not only just in Little League, but really it hit the head when I got to playing in high school.
So I found an article you did for the Morning Chalk Up. It was a letter to your 17-year-old self.
Right.
So you were afforded some opportunities because people made sacrifices for you to go to that Catholic school, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you feel pressure to not let those people down, or were you too young to understand the moment?
I would say I was too young to understand the moment. It was just, football was just my thing. It was just, growing up, it was just all about, getting out of the area that I was at, making it to the NFL, being able to provide for others. When you hear that, you don't look at the whole spectrum of it. You just look at, oh, I'm playing football, and at the time, well, I still am. I'm a Michigan fan, so I grew up a Michigan fan. Desmond Howard, Tembiaka Batuka, Chris Howard, Charles Woodson. That was, they were my jam, and that blue and yellow and those stripes, that just was my jam. But
I'll still support you, but I'm a Buckeye fan, big time. But
okay, see, yeah, I remember, Tembiaka Batuka and what he did to the Hawk, the Buckeyes, and Charles Woodson, what he did to the Buckeyes.
I hear you.
But it's just, it's like, you don't, at that age, you really don't understand, because, you don't have the understanding just yet. It's just, it's how your elders are presenting it to you, and how they were presenting it to me was just one chapter, football, and then, they then present the other side of the chapter to me, the next chapter, which is, when you do good in football comes, the vultures, the leeches, the girls, the partying, they didn't put that all together. It was just like, all right, this is football. Oh, this is what football is about. Okay. So, that's how everything was just presented to me.
So besides it being, like you were naturally good at it, and this was kind of your ticket to move through, was it really a passion of yours, or did you just feel this is something I'm good at, this is a role I need to fill?
It was a passion of mine, because of the natural talent that I possess of doing it. Around that time, being, growing up in the projects or growing up in a lower income area, you only have 3 ways of coming out, whether if it's sports, music, or the drug game, right? So sports, my older brothers, they kept me somewhat shielded. They made sure I didn't do what they were doing. They made sure that a football was always in my hand, or I was in I was in the house at the right time, or when it was time to do something, I made sure that, they made sure that I had to fall in line and listen. I wasn't allowed to do, a lot of the stuff that they were doing, and at that time I felt like, oh man, how come I can't do this? Like, why I gotta be in Little League? Why I gotta go to practice? People are going here, and I didn't understand my journey, or I didn't understand my calling at the time. So I just followed what I was being told. Mm-hmm. So it was to just focus on football. They did say focus on school, but then again, it was like I really didn't have to focus on school because I had teachers who loved football, and they was going to make sure that my grades was going to be good enough to be eligible to play.
So in that letter, you talk about an incident that happened when you were in high school. And we don't have to talk about it. If you want to, we can go there. But in that, you also then faced some racism, some bigotry at the school that you were going to because of what happened. So even though you're going to this private school, you're facing some of the same issues that you are in the real world, that you would have in the real world. Right. But you had people in your life that told you to keep your head up and keep moving. Mm-hmm. How important were those people?
They were important to a certain degree. Me going through, getting a white girl pregnant at 17 when I was a junior. I didn't know that at that time people felt otherwise, because all the accolades that I was getting, all the praise that I was getting, right? Until I crossed that line, which was laying down with somebody that has a different complexion than me, that was a no-no. So there I was like, oh, why everybody bugging against me? Why everybody want to, hurt me? Why they want to kick me out of school? Why they want to, I had some parents talking about, I should be hanged and all this, that, in a Catholic high school, this is not allowed. But the powers to be wasn't going to let that happen because why? I was putting butts in their seats. I was bringing attention to the high school. Right. But those who told me to stay focused only told me to stay focused for their only personal gain, which was football, right? Which was football. Hey, don't worry about, don't worry about your daughter, this and that. You focus on this, you're gonna be able to take care of her and in the long run. And I'm like, no, like I knew what it felt like not having my father around and not having that male dominant figure in my life to keep me straight. If I'd have had that male dominant figure in my life, my oldest daughter wouldn't be here. But me being 17, if I'm old enough to lay down with a woman and not use protection, then I'm old enough to step up to the plate and be a father. But I was being ridiculed for making that decision, right? I was being ridiculed for not really wanting to focus on football and focus on my future and focus on making possibly millions of dollars instead of, hey, here's a little girl that needs their father. Let's break the stigma of what people's idea is about Black fathers and not being in the household. I wanted to break that. I wanted to right the wrong that my father did to me. So I had the opportunity to do that to my oldest daughter now. But people were still steering me in the wrong direction, ultimately.
It's like no matter what decision you would have made, though, there was no winning in that situation.
No,
right?
No, at all. No, not at all. It was, you don't know the talent that you have, and we could have this house, we could have this cars, even if you have to pay child support, you could write it off with one check and this and that. And it's like you don't understand what I felt when I had the broken promises, said to me when I would sit outside and he wouldn't show up. I don't want my daughter to experience those same type of feelings, because those feelings hurt and those feelings carry over into my adulthood. Some days I still have those feelings, because I still that hurt. For a kid, it's like a different kind of hurt, especially when you look up to a parent and you take their word as is and they don't follow through. That's a different kind of hurt. So I made the decision to where I wanted to stay around, but I had those who were close to me and those who, quote unquote, had my best interest. They didn't see it that way.
So in the letter, and actually in some research I saw, you were recruited by all the big names.
Yeah.
Right. When this happened, you tried to negotiate that your daughter and your girlfriend at the time would have housing. And with that, you lost some opportunities to play football. So how did you come to pick Iowa as your school of choice coming out of high school?
I had a good visit. Yeah, like I said, I when I look back on my journey, I feel like I was a stallion, just running in the field, just running, no direction, no guidance, no nothing, no rider, just running, right? I should have never chose a Big Ten during that time, me being a fast wide receiver. I should have went to either Miami, who I was being recruited by, or Texas Tech, who throws the ball, 100 times a game, right? But
Yeah.
I went off of the desires and the lustful nature that came with football. I had a good visit and I went with that, and that's not a very good decision to make. Just going off of that for trying to make it to the NFL. Just looking back at that decision, you could tell I was very misguided on the decisions that I made.
But I think at the same time, but you were 18 when you made that decision, right? Right. But now, of course, with a more mature, more adult brain, you can look at things, hindsight and be like, okay, maybe that wasn't the right choice. But as an 18-year-old, you made the best choice that you could for you and your family at that time.
Right.
So you've mentioned a few times that you were fast. You were state champion in the 100 meters in New Jersey. So yeah, a little bit fast. And your 40 time was 4.3.
4.3 flat.
4.3 flat.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even know what that is. That is crazy. So you go to Iowa and you play for you actually play as a freshman. You play for 2 years and then you transfer to Rutgers. So why the transfer, and was that a better fit to go back to Jersey to Rutgers? And you were on a winning team there too.
Yeah, no, not at all. I had got suspended.
Oh.
I let a girl write my paper, and the rhetoric class that I was in at the time, the teacher, she was very biased against football players, and it was one of them classes where it was like 2 regular students and it was all football players, and she thought me and another player cheated off each other, which we didn't, because a girl wrote his paper and a girl wrote my paper. And they pulled the guy into the office and they asked him, and he ended up telling on me. And I at that time when I was in the office, when they were questioning me, I refused to give up the girl name or I refused to give up the guy, but they wanted me to apologize in a way that I felt was very racially motivated. They wanted me to apologize to the teacher, right? To the teacher for quote unquote plagiarizing and admitting that I did it. But I felt like, one, I didn't plagiarize because the girl wrote my paper, and then two, their tone was just a little bit off. and they were like, if you do this, we'll waive your suspension and you could, stay in school. I was like, I didn't, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do it or whatever. Y'all saying that so and so said that a girl wrote my paper, then it is what it is. But I'm not going to go ahead and make that decision. And so I had to serve a year suspension, and serve that red shirt year. And so by me sitting out that year, or those 2 months in the summer, I felt lost. I felt like I needed to be into something. I felt like I didn't know what was going on. My identity was football. So me not having football there and me having it, ripped away off of, the decision that I made for not going ahead and doing my own work, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have anybody to talk to. It was like when that was going on, it was like nobody was in my corner.
Uh-oh, we lost you.
We were doing so good.
Yeah. Lost you there for a minute.
That was my son. So he hit the power cord. He hit the power cord, and I was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Sorry about that.
He said he's done with this conversation.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you were saying that that during the suspension there was nobody in your corner, and that's where it cut off.
There were nobody in my corner, nobody to say, all right, this little hiccup or whatever, or anybody there to basically really, motivate me or give me some guidance. Or every decision was just made on my own. Even if I was a 19, 20-year-old at the time, there's, that 19, 20-year-old still needs guidance.
Yeah.
You have a kid at 17, junior in high school, you get suspended, like, all right, something is, let's sit down and talk. Let's have some guidance. Let's go ahead and try to right these wrongs and make them right, so you don't go ahead and go back and make that same mistake. Nothing. And so that's when I went ahead and made the decision to come home to Jersey, go to Rutgers, and rest is history.
So I think you won a Big Ten championship at Rutgers?
Yeah. We tied Michigan. We whooped. I had a great game against Ohio State that year. We whooped them. Freshman year, we went to the Horseshoe. We lost. It was like Ohio State and Penn State probably were the loudest stadiums I ever been in.
Penn State. Amy, you're on mute.
Yeah, I realized that after. Sorry.
Ohio State is loud. And that's when Jenkins and Claret was out. He had to sit out his suspension, and Gamble was there, Chris Gamble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In my sophomore year, we went up to, because we beat Michigan that year. My freshman year, sophomore year, we went up to Michigan, and Braylon Edwards just went off on us. But we ended up sharing the Big Ten with Michigan, and that's when Michigan went to the Rose Bowl and played Texas, and that's when Texas beat them, and then ultimately the next year Texas beat
USC.
USC.
Yeah. So you finished your college career, and then you are a free agent signee by the greatest franchise in the history of the NFL.
Chicago Bears.
Charlotte Panthers.
What is the process of being a free agent signee coming out of college?
The process is you as soon as you don't get drafted, your phone just start ringing off the hook, because they trying to fill up the rosters to go into minicamp, right? Rookie minicamp. And then once you do that, then you have like a week or two off, and then you go in for OTAs. OTAs is like, you could come, but you don't have to come. You know, it's voluntary, as they say, but we all know what voluntary in college or NFL means. Like, you should show up, right? And then so you're there for like a good 2 or 3 weeks, and then you have another break, and then you're there for a second OTAs, and then you have a week off, and then you report to training camp. But at that time, before reporting to OTAs, Lovie Smith wanted to offer me a contract, a spot on the team. And during that time, I was in no condition to be an NFL player, because 4 months prior, with so much pressure and stuff that was going on in my life, I tried to take my own life, because the pressure was just so thick. You know, I started to have an awakening of, you know, I'm playing football not for myself but for others. And as I was getting ready for the pro day and the combine and stuff, my phone was just ringing off of people asking me, "Yo, let me hold 20 stacks." And like, people that I never even talked to in years, or people that never even, you know, even by me coming home to Jersey, people that never even drove up the turnpike to come to a game or anything. You know, people that never even saw me play in high school and just say, "Oh yeah, I watched you play," or "I have this news clipping." Is this? They were just coming out of the woodworks. And me having a heart to care for people, I would take that serious. But the pressure just got so thick, man, and I tried to, you know, commit suicide. And I can remember being admitted into a mental hospital for 2 weeks, to where even those that had to be in that situation, in that mental hospital, it was like they were my angels, because they would come out of whatever trance that they were in and look at me and be like, "You don't belong here." You know, they would literally say, you don't, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. Right. And I remember that vividly. Like, they will always say that to me. And then even coming out of the mental hospital and walking away from the Chicago Bears contract, still nobody wanted to understand why I made that decision to walk away. You know, nobody, everybody, when I came home, everybody was saying, "What are you doing here? Why are you here? You should be on somebody's team. You should be in somebody's camp." Not realizing that the reason why I walked away is because in order for me to be a better man, I need to be better mentally. For me to be a better father, I need to be better mentally. A future husband, I need to be better. A friend, a brother, a son, I need to get better. But everybody once again missed the mark and didn't understand that, hey, he's legit going through something. His mental health is at its peak now, because he just tried to take his life. But here we are over here and wondering why he's not making millions of dollars and satisfying, you know, our desires. But really, we should be focusing on him and his mental health. And nobody did.
So I know that faith is a major part of your life now. Mm-hmm. When did that happen for you? Was it after the suicide attempt?
I grew up Baptist. But I could never get with the whole Baptist movement. You know, I never understood why I needed to go to church in a 2-piece suit, and why I needed to, you know, look good to be in church. You know, because really the Most High God, he deals with our heart. You know, it's a one-on-one relationship. He could care how I look on the outside. You know, and it didn't. He really didn't come a factor into my life until I left out of New Jersey and moved to California. And that was in 2010. So I made the decision to book a one-way and go meet my now wife for 10 years, you know, on a one-way, and I never looked back.
That's incredible.
So
So
how have you built your support system now? Like, so you went through all this and you were describing, not having people, having your back. So how has your support system come about now? I'm assuming, you've got your wife and now, for 10 years, but how did you kind of overcome that to get that support?
Um, I'm still, being 37, I'm still building that team. My foundation is my wife. My foundation is my faith. My faith is just so strong that I know that whatever I pray for, I believe in that prayer and I know it's going to happen. But to have, you know, others, because sometimes, it's good to talk to people outside of, who you see every day just to get a different perspective. But I feel as if the wall that I have up is that, you know, I still have those who would rather praise me, the athlete, than appreciate me, James Townsend. And that there, when people praise me, the athlete, it's weird to me. It feels weird to me because I don't want to be praised at all. Praising me didn't get me nowhere in my old life. So that's why I live a life of just of humility, to whereas I could put others first and not make it about myself. That I could train athletes and open up a business and could care less about if I'm getting money or not, because that's not why I do it. I do it because I want to see the best in others. I really want to be a blessing to others, because it's not me at the end of the day. It's not about me. But when people praise me, the athlete, and they just want to be around because I'm the athlete, I'm skeptical of you now. You're showing me that you don't want to be in my life because of James Townsend. You want to be in my life because of James Townsend, the athlete. So now I'm starting to see the difference of the two.
Mm-hmm.
So you start making a transition into coaching, and I believe when you got to California, you started coaching at a UFC gym.
Yeah. UFC fighters and boxing. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get into that from football? Was that an easy transition for you?
Yeah. I always had a background in boxing. I just love working out. I also love combat. Not that like I go out there looking for fights, but it just boxing was something that I took to, because I had an uncle that was a black belt in Taekwondo. And so when I was younger as well, not just playing football, but I would always work out with him and do boxing and jiu-jitsu and Taekwondo with him. I'm a big Kung Fu fan. I love Bruce Lee. I don't know who don't love Bruce Lee. I grew up watching his videos and all Kung Fu videos, from Jet Li to Jackie Chan to, Michael Jai White. I just love action fight movies, right? So that was easy for me to make that transition over into that, because then nobody knew me. Nobody knew me, but for somehow it was like the Most High God allowed, the aura or the talent of me to be noticed. Even me coming over into boxing, and then excelling as a coach in that, then people will always look at me and be like, did you play football or something? Because you don't have a body of a boxer. Like, and then I'll be like, yeah. And then they would go ahead and, search my name and go to Google, and then we'll end up being on a conversation of me as a football player. And I used to try to hide from that for so long, because I felt like that life was like a drug of mine, and I didn't want to talk about it. And it was like, so I made a point in my life to where I just wanted to, cross it out and put that on the back shelf, and not allow that to be, a stigma in my life anymore.
So you leave the UFC gym because someone tells you about CrossFit, and you kind of fell in love. And initially you were really an athlete. Like, you were a player in the grid league. You played for the LA Reign, and you were the training partner of Lindsey Valenzuela.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, that's OG CrossFit right there.
OG, right? Yeah. Started off at Dogtown, was training with Lindsey, Ruth Harrell was there. Becca Voigt would come down all the time. Val Vobro. That's I joined Dogtown right when Dusty had Sam, Lindsey, and Val on the podium that year in 2013.
Wow.
So I came right into it and was learning from all the vets, all the elites. Kenny Leverage, and then Noah came that year in 2014. So it was huge.
Well, in the grid league, there's a lot of specialization, right? And you're so strong. Did that fit your skill set more than straight CrossFit?
Yeah. It was every barbell, anything, athletically, if they needed me to jump up and do legless rope climbs or burpee to a target, which was the rings, I was fast in that. So I was, a specialist in multiple movements, but mainly, if they needed me to go touch and go on 345 power cleans at the end for 5, I would be that guy,
James, you say that with such humility. So are you sad Grid League isn't around anymore?
Nah, man. No, I think they were more along the lines of starting that business to stick it to CrossFit. It wasn't really well ran. It could have been cool, but then again, it was too hard on the body, and it just wasn't ran well.
So how did you get into elite coaching with CrossFit athletes?
One thing I learned about myself as an athlete is that I'm a student of the game. I study athletes. The Most High God blessed me with the ability to be able to see athletes, see people talent, see who has it, and see who needs work, right? And so I was able to not only just work with elite athletes, but also, everyday gym goers. It's, like I said, I really have a passion for helping others, and it's nothing greater than me, seeing somebody that could barely do an air squat, but I could get them past, their hip crease on the air squat within 5 minutes because of the time, the care, the love, and the fun that I'm showing in those 5 minutes, and the attention that I'm showing that athlete in those 5 minutes to be able to get lower into their air squats with proper technique. And like I said, for me to be a student of the game, I look at how everybody else is being coached and how they should be coached, and I make sure that I'm just doing just that I'm giving the athletes, more than what they need. I'm going above and beyond because, every person deserves that, especially when it comes to this business, because we all know the background that CrossFit has. We all know the bad information that comes with CrossFit. Oh, your shoulders, you're gonna blow your knee out, you're gonna blow your back out. Lifting fast is Olympic weightlifting is an elite movement, so you shouldn't be doing it fast, this and that. But no, it's you're forgetting that it's functional first. Not only will CrossFit make your functional movements good, but it'll make your functional movements good on the outside. When you got little kids like my son, picking them up the right way and not bending over, it makes you have more energy. It makes your body feels better, your joints, your knees. What we old people like to say go first, our knees, your back and everything. And it's just fun, man. It just, it got really fun for me when my oldest daughter started doing it and I started focusing on her. And so that keeps me sharp as a coach, because because with kids they need strict supervision because they could get hurt, right? Because all kids are different. All kids move different. Their coordination are different. Some kids have it, some kids don't, right? But they could all get that same amount of attention, right? So when I'm working with my kids or coaching other kids, I'm dialed in with them. I'm making sure that they're doing everything right, moving right, with proper technique. That keeps me sharp. So when I go ahead and coach elite athletes or my classes, I'm doing that same thing. So it rolls over right into who I am as a coach. And me being a father, I give all the credit to that and why I'm the coach that I am.
So those are some of my favorite videos to watch. Are the ones I think I've seen most recently is with you and Freya. Is that right? Yeah. And so do you have 3 kids then?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Three of my wife and then my oldest daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So in your Instagram, I saw that your one daughter was getting ready for a gymnastics meet.
Mm-hmm.
So here you are, an elite athlete. You are now a coach of elite athletes. What is it like to be just dad at a gymnastics meet?
Oh my God. Like nerve-wracking, because as a parent, you want to protect your child, right? You want to do it for them because you trust them, but then again, as a parent, there's that trust is kind of shaken because you see them growing up and you see them fall and you see them make little mistakes and everything, but it's like, can you fully trust them when they're doing something alone that doesn't entail you being a part of it, to where you have to sit in the stands and watch? It's very nerve-wracking, right? I mean, like when I'm recording her doing on her beam, oh man, the beam, I'm just like holding my breath the whole time, but it's relaxing, even though it's nerve-wracking for me, but then it's also relaxing because it reminds me that I'm constantly telling my girls, strong girl, strong world, empower yourself, be brave. Like, I believe in you, but ultimately it's you that need to believe in yourself. You know what you need to do. You're out there. It's just fun. Just have fun. But when it's time to turn it on, turn it on. And Princess P, she could just turn it on, and it's like, and when the meets are over, now I just sit back and think about it, like, why was I nervous? Like, do I not trust her? But it's just that parent in me that just wants my child to succeed.
Yeah, I find it more difficult as a parent watching your kids compete than competing yourself because of that energy. And it's like, I always say this, like, it doesn't matter to me what the outcome is, but I can't hardly watch because I have no control, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's so hard.
So when we talked in Texas, you gave me a quote that blew me away, right? It is, if I can teach you to be brave in the gym, it will prepare you to be brave outside the gym. Mm-hmm. And the name of your gym is The Brave One.
Right.
And what was cool about our conversation is you're so about mindset, right? And I think with the struggles you went through with your career and your pro career, that mindset has become so important to you and it's so vital to today's athletes. How do you instill that in your athletes?
I bring along the athlete in me, what it takes to be an athlete, what it takes to be an elite athlete. It just doesn't take talent to be an elite athlete. You could be an elite athlete with all the talent, but if you ain't got it mentally, you ain't no use to that sport. You're no use to your team. You get rattled all the time. You get shaken. We see those type of players, right? We see those players to where they say LeBron doesn't have the clutch gene, or he's not like Kobe and Jordan or Tom Brady. You could know which athletes are rattled, right? And that just lets me know as an athlete that you're only training the physical and not training your mental. right? If you could train your mental, which you need to do every day in the gym, when you're in the gym and you're training physically, we all know what that pain feels like when we're doing a 5-rounder, right? And you get to that, you finish that 3rd round and you get ready to start that 4th, and it's like, oh my God, right? You're like, oh my, here is the workout. And I tell my athletes all the time, when you're doing a 5-rounder, the workout don't start until you get to the 4th. So when you feel that pain, you're either going to go right or you're going to go left. Wherever the pain is coming from, wherever the discomfort is coming from, what are you going to do? You're either going to lay down or you're going to get down, right? You're either going to go right, block out the pain, finish the workout the best that you can, and then you could fall out after the workout, or you want to sit there, stare at the bar, stretch your back, try to focus on the pain, you're breathing heavy, you're instead of, cycling through the barbell for 10 reps, you're dropping it every 2 to 3. That's just making you more tired. Right there, you're giving up on yourself. You're giving up on all the hard work that you're putting in just because of one little discomfort.
Do you have a camera at my gym or something?
Yeah, I mean, I even tell my everyday gym members, like, if you got to look at your past successes. If you pushed yourself on grace to have a faster time, then the next day, that workout, you should be able to push on that next workout. How can you do that? Remember what you were doing. Remember how you pushed yourself on grace. This next workout is no different. And then you always remember your past successes. You don't just say, all right, I hit a PR on grace, and then I go to this workout, oh man, I can't do it. It's like, there are constant battles. There are battles. But along your journey on the road, are you going to stay in the detour? Are you going to allow that roadblock to stay there, or are you going to find a way to get around that roadblock to get back onto your journey? Right? It's you have to make that decision right then and there. I tell my athletes, I put them in scenarios to where I'm always repeating stuff. Breathe, stay calm. When that discomfort come on and you're breathing heavy, that panic breathing, take a deep breath. Know how to stop right before redlining. When you get ready to redline. We all know that. It's okay to stop right there, take a deep breath. That'll allow more air to get into your lungs. 5 seconds, hear that countdown, right back onto the barbell. Right? Every time you feel a discomfort when you're rowing or you're on a bike, breathe, deep breath every 5 counts when you got to row 50 calories. Right? Deep breath, not panic breathe, because once you panic breathe, then all hell is just going to break loose. Yeah, and that heart rate get up, right? Because, and the thing about it is, most people, that discomfort of that panic breathing, we're causing that ourselves because we don't know how to bring our heart rate back down. Nobody is teaching how to bring the heart rate back down. When you're doing a work to rest ratio, you don't just do the work and then rest because you're happy that you're done doing the work and then you hop back on it. No, the work still continues because in that rest, you got to bring that heart rate down. If you're doing a 1 minute on, 1 minute off, and your heart rate is at 165 at the end of that 1 minute, and then you start the next minute at 165, you're done because you didn't focus on bringing that heart rate back down.
Yeah.
Right. So it's those mindset things to where I allow my athletes to remember, because I'm constantly repeating myself. So when they out there on the competition floor and they feel that discomfort, they'll hear my voice. Even if I am yelling, but they'll hear it, they'll remember it. Right.
So as you talk, it's obvious that you're an amazing coach, right? And you have a proof of concept that worked. You had a 17-year-old finish 7th at the games last year, due in part to your coaching, right? That relationship has ended, and now you're moving forward. You're pivoting to new things. Are you seeing people wanting to be a part of what you have because of that proof of concept?
Absolutely. I firmly believe it's how I'm delivering the message, and I just let my heart show into my coaching and to the words, and mainly in my actions. You know, when there's people who I don't coach reach out to me and they ask me, how can I get better to this? I respond right back to them really quick. You know, I let them know, hey, you could do this, you could do that. This is how you get better in your snatch. Boom, there you go. And then they'll hit me back either a day or two later and be like, man, that worked. Like, you know, stuff like that. Like, yes, I'm a coach of individual athletes and athletes that come to my gym, but mainly I'm a coach of the people. You know, if anybody needs any advice on how to get better anywhere or mentally and anything, I tell them, reach out to me. Like, I don't hold myself higher than nobody. You know, it's, you know, I also tell my athletes, when you start getting followers and people start commenting on your stuff, comment back. It gets under my skin when athletes, when their fans comment to them and they don't comment back. I don't care if you got 3 million, 4 million, like, comment back to them. Let them know that, you know, just they adore you. They look up to you. You know, God put you in this position for a reason. You know, he blessed you to be in this position. So you know, they come to me for mainly, you know, the mindset. Cause I always say CrossFit is 80% mental, 20% physical. You know, the elites in this game, some of them have it down mentally. The ones that won the game multiple times, they have it down mentally because they took the time out to go ahead and train mentally and not just train physically. They train their mental side, right? So if you could get somewhat a hold of your mental side and be able to push, you're going to be a semis finals athlete. You're going to be a games competitor.
So I think you had to be careful saying coach of the people, because Charlie probably is not going to give you a rest for the next
Correct.
few weeks.
It's cool. Charlie gave me up for anything.
You can see a lot of videos of cleans, poor front racks, all coming your way.
Hey, send them. And I mean that, send them.
He's going to need your help the next 3 weeks for sure during the Open.
Next 10 years. What are you talking about, 3 weeks?
Well, I want to finish with some fun stuff about how strong you are. And I just want to let you know, Amy has a parent-teacher conference in like 3 minutes, so she may disappear. It's nothing to you, but
Nothing personal. I just have to bounce and do my job.
No, I get it.
So we talked in Texas about the 400-pound power clean. And how you don't warm up and you make big jumps. Charlie thinks now that's how he has to do it. And we're just waiting for the ER call saying that
because he doesn't have the technique down yet or the mobility.
He says, if James can do it, I can do it.
It's all details.
So you found Olympic lifting while playing football, right? Like that's in strength and conditioning. And it's obvious that you have a love for that style of lifting. On your CrossFit page, you have numbers, but I do not think that those numbers are accurate. I think they're higher than what are there. You have you have like a snatch of 330. I think it's higher than that now.
Yeah.
You had deadlift of 650.
That's higher. Yeah. 683.
What's the snatch?
My snatch, it's only about 5 pounds. Power snatch, 335.
Power snatch, you said. Just clean and jerk, 407.
Yeah,
and
that's my best in competition. Yeah, with the jerk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen a number floated out there other than that. That's way higher.
Oh, my power clean, 425.
Yeah. Back squat 562.
Yep.
And your 400 meter, on top of all that, 48 seconds? That's stupid, man.
That's all out sprinting too. That's one 400 meter. You ain't gonna get me to do 2, 3. That's
why I like you.
Hamstrings are tight. sore. Yeah.
So you
You
lift
get one
all that
shot,
weight
that's
and
it.
yet, yeah, go ahead, Charlie. Sorry.
No, I'm saying that's what you get. You get one from me, and then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie's the guy that does Murph, where he sprints the first mile, gets about, I don't know, 20 push-ups in, and he's like, well, I went out too fast.
I just want to point out that one of these
That
guys
was-
is an elite athlete and the other is not.
White James will get there one day. It's fine.
And so Charlie and I have been trying to wiggle our way into the Iowa camp that you and Dex have going on. We hear that that is like the most fun weekend, bro trip out there. Is that now part of your support group?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's the guys came on and they got into my mission. They respect my faith, and they not just my faith, but they respect how I want to better the community as a whole. And then we also wanted our voices to be heard. Being that we are men of color and everything, and then with stuff that was going around with Greg Glassman during that year of 2020, we wanted our faces to be seen, our voices to be heard, and we wanted a spot in the sport, and we knew that the sport of CrossFit itself wasn't going to give that. We had to make the action ourselves. So, like I said, my thing is being a coach of the people and giving them the right information, not just elites, but novice, intermediate, and then the RX or elite athletes of how to properly approach going into a gym, how to properly approach picking the right gym with the right coaches or owners or whatever they're programming, how to also approach going along the journey of looking to compete. Because I feel as if a lot of other camps out there don't give out the information, man. I just feel as if a lot of them just look into getting the money and then giving the information. Like I said, I could care less about the money. I want you to be able to have enough information that is good for you, good for your soul, good for your body, because you feel good, you move good, you lift good, you perform good. Right? And if you have the right amount of information to be this athlete that you want to be, and when you take that back, you can start questioning a lot of things that was told to you, even in your gym, your coaches, the programming, right? These other, remote programmers that's out there. If that even falls behind the wayside. Remote programming. When you come on the TBO training, you don't just get the remote programming and the right things to attack, but you get me. You get me anything. I tell them, hey, send me your gymnastics and send me your all your weightlifting that you have to do, and I'll go ahead and break it down in coaching. And then I'm constantly in contact with them, asking them, how you feeling? Oh, I feel good. How did you feel mentally on this workout? And then we get to talking, right? Or this lift, or make sure your knuckles is down on your clean or your snatch, and make sure you turn your elbows out. Like remote programming should be like that. And that goes a long way for a lot of people. And that camp is just that. It's about guys really dialing in, showing their range as a coach. It's not just my philosophy. Dex has his own philosophy. Quan has his own philosophy. Vander, JP, everybody has their own philosophy, and everybody checks their ego at the door, and we all come together and we let it's not just about physical, but we also talk about the mental side as well. And people really enjoy it, man. They really enjoy it.
So I got two questions for you to finish up. And the first one is, how did you and Dex become friends?
It was you know what? It's funny. I can remember in 2014 when I got into CrossFit, and in 2015, you know how you just, you have the weekend, and it always fell around the Memorial Day weekend. And you have the weekend, and you'll watch back all the regional videos.
Yeah.
And it was always this guy that had the beard, and it was either him. It was him and
Jared Stevens.
Jared Stevens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That had the beard. So those two guys stuck out to me. And then, like I said, in 2020, once COVID hit, this group chat started, and it's like me, Chandler, Quan, and then Dex and all was on it. And I was like, oh man, you're that guy with the beard, with the long beard that's tied in and everything, and you compete with your wife. And he's like, yeah, man, that's me. And he was like, yeah, I've always been a fan of yours. So I was like, man, I've been a fan of yours too. And we just hit it off like that.
Yeah, and he looks totally different without the beard.
Yep.
Totally.
Yep.
So the last question I have, and this could get complex because I saw your diet on something I researched, and I see your abs, and I've eaten those same foods, and my abs are nowhere near what you have. Chips Ahoy, oatmeal. I can't remember, candy.
McDonald's.
How? What's the magic pill?
Just God-given genetics. But I got to clean that up, though. I'm getting up there in age. I'll be 38 this year. I always say that, but then again, it's like when I do, literally it'll be a week or two, and I'm fiending for Chips Ahoy or Oreos. It's like when they're not in the house, I literally like go through my pantry closet and the fridge, and I'll be like, yo, we don't have no food to eat, but we have food. When I'm just like, no, it's not what I want. It's not what it's tough, man. It's tough to change it up, but I know I need to do it, for my health wise and health reasons. So,
well, James, I'm so glad we met. You're one of my favorite people now. I love your stories. And I think that they're such an inspiration for others. And I think what you're trying to do is amazing. And helping others. I love that caring heart that you have. And so I'm so glad you joined us, and hopefully we'll have you back in the future.
Yeah, thank you, man. I humbly appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you very much.